give the people a chance to get notified. I'm going to have a little talk about these white South Africans, as they call them, getting a chance to come over here to the Americas. And I was watching this video about how this one guy was talking about how there's so few Latinos complaining about this. You know, he's like, I would think that if, you know, that was happening to my people, I would be all up in arms. But we're going to let you know why they really can't be all up in arms. Because just like the same thing that's happening with the so-called natives is happening with all the vassals and Vassals. You all were the beneficiaries. You all were those South Africans. So how can you now complain when the Most High takes away your position, you know, be your high position of being able to, you know, steal our dainties? And now the Most High is taking it away. The Most High giveth, the Most High taketh away. You can't complain either way. So let me play a little bit of Levitate, give people a chance to get notified, and then we'll get started.
We at it again. I medicate that again. Maneuver the weight and I elevate. Got they go to the matrix, I meditate. Magnetized by that motor, I innovate. Innovate, make haters evaporate. They refine by the fire I generate. They keep making devil disintegration. On my face of the east and I alternate. Watch me levitate, 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 hold your levitate, 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 out of the levitate, 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 not levitate, 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 hold your levitate, 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 out of the levitate, 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 not levitate.
Don't take a step no further. Lightness required from detached observers. No escape from the struggles of warfare. Ancestor wars, no dark clouds. Wherefore only the bold can cross the rainbow bridge. Not an ounce of fear, no looks down, not a smidge. Don't shun obstacles, off path, no switch, or give a single fudge of the tongue of a yappy. Rich in the heart, deep elemental balance. Fight hard to bestow meaningful, crucial counts. Serve the purpose, gatekeepers hold no malice. Ride Michael lines, find the peaceful floating palace dome of Kublai Khan. Echoes of the Yuan, mandate of heaven from decrees laid upon. Wings like these needed not to float as swans. Visions of gods bearing many wise spawns.
Levitate, 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 out of the levitate, 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 not levitate, 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 out of the levitate, 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 not levitate, levitate.
Conflagration 83's confused, asking why. Genesis 15:13 says hallelujah. Jacob's trouble is over, thus say Yahweh. By his power we have manna, we say all praise Yah. By the guide of right mama, we say Gloria.
Levitate, hold your levitate, 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 out of the levitate, 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 not levitate, 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 hold your levitate, 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 out of the levitate, 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 not levitate, 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 levitate. Levitate, 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 out of the levitate, 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 not levitate, 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 levitate.
Thank you again, brother Big Levi, and everyone that helps make that great music for us, be able to get us in the right frequency. Thank you again to all of the moderators. We appreciate you taking care of the chat. And you know, I saw Sister Lisa did a video yesterday talking about these white South Africans, and it was crazy. I was watching this other video. It's like a news video. I'm gonna play a little bit of it because it was talking about how, you know, they're trying to say that the white South Africans were being genocided, going through a genocide. See how they easily throw out these words, Holocaust, genocides, when it comes to their people being a little inconvenienced. Being a little inconvenienced to them is a genocide. Having to hear about the things that us so-called black people went through at their hands causes them black fatigue. Possibly Hammites haven't even taken any land back, but the possibility of them taking land that they stole from them in South Africa is now genocide. But see, when we talk about what's happened to our people, it's get over it. It wasn't me. This is the prime example of, yeah, it wasn't you that did the whole apartheid, but it's you that's benefiting from it. You South Africans took land from the Hammites, gave it to yourselves, been handed down from generation to generation, and now that the Hammites want their land back, it's genocide. No one's done anything to them yet, but the thought of that is genocide. And Trump's got to go ahead and kick out all the Mexicans and bring in the white people. And it's funny, there were a couple of videos, and one of the Latinos was talking about, it's just, they were profiling, because ICE is just profiling Mexicans, and so they're profiling black and brown people. I'm like, slow down. Slow down. Don't be putting us, black and browns, all of a sudden out together. I said, that's not going to work anymore. Because see, like when we wanted to work with you, you wanted to cozy up to the Edomites. You wanted to cozy up to the so-called white man. You wanted to be white passing. That's what most of you Latinos, the vast majority of you vassals, have all made a covenant for. That's what Psalms 83 is all about. So you can be white passing. It's not white passing necessarily always with your skin. It's also white passing with your mind, white passing with your spirit, hating Negroes, hating so-called black people, American black people. You got your dainties. You got your cookies from the so-called Europeans by hating us. That is why you taught your children and your sons and daughters, don't date them. Don't go out with them. If you bring a black man home, you're going to be disowned. You see what I'm saying? Hey, great seeing you, Brother Moriel and Yosef. Appreciate you guys being here. You see what I'm saying? So that is what the society has taught them. But see, now that it's flipped. Now everything's flipped. Now all of a sudden, you know, you guys can't say anything to the so-called white man because you got those exact same benefits. The exact same benefits that the South Africans are getting, you already got. All of you other nations made a covenant with the colonizers, okay, to hate us, and then they gave you free housing. They gave you an opportunity to come and go to school here. They gave you an opportunity to come and get benefits when you didn't have money for this. They gave you benefits to go to college. They gave you benefits, you know, to get businesses. This goes for the brown people, the Latinos, as well as the so-called Africans, as well as the so-called Asians, as well as the so-called Europeans. as well as the so-called Native Americans. All of you groups got the South African treatment. You all got the South African treatment. So did Ish. They got a whole country, a Balfour Declaration. They also got, they're getting money from Germany, which was pretty much brokered by the Europeans, all the way until today. So everyone's had their hand in the cookie jar. But see, now the Most High has taken those dainties away, and they just, for good measure, on your way out the door, just to piss you off, I'm going to go ahead and take that little bit of money I'm taking from you, and I'm going to give it to these white South Africans because they are going through a genocide. How many of them have been killed? This video talks about how, like, very few, the vast majority of people who were killed on farms were so-called Africans, so-called black people. I'll play a little bit of this.
And the South African government and refugee advocates are rebuking the Trump administration for welcoming 59 white South Africans as refugees. The president told reporters Monday he admitted the refugees because of the, quote, genocide that's taking place. South Africa recently passed a new Expropriation Act, which aims to address historical land injustices established during apartheid. As South Africa's government strongly disputes Trump's characterization, saying there is no persecution of white Afrikaners in his country. Let's bring in Professor Ruth Hall from the University of Western Cape.
Is that quick? They just want to throw out the word genocide. So they do whatever they want. Oh, it's a genocide. Bring them on in. They're refugees. Bring them on in. You see, they use those same types of wording to bring in Cubans. When they wanted to, bring Cubans in. Oh, you guys can't go back home because, you're afraid that someone's going to do something to you, or, you're a refugee. They would do exactly the same kinds of things. Look, they use words when it's convenient for them. Right, Shawnee, Destiny? We're not seeking their explanations for anything because it's all a bunch of garbage.
South Africa for more on this, Professor Hall. Thanks for joining us. Can you just start by explaining the Expropriation Act, what it does, and why it's so controversial?
Thanks, Diane. So the Expropriation Act in South Africa has been long in coming. It's provided for in the Constitution, and it's been nearly 30 years of drafting this law. It does not provide for confiscation of land. What it does is it allows for a legal process reviewable by courts by which the state may compulsorily acquire property for certain purposes, including to restore that property to people from whom it was unfairly and unjustly taken in the past. In fact, it's the right of eminent domain. It's the same right that's enshrined in the American Constitution in the Fifth Amendment. In fact, it's quite a...
It's funny because that's what she said. Like, the same things that's in this is actually in the Fifth Amendment. Eminent domain. And they were actually offering to pay for the land in order to take it back and give it back to the Africans, which is like funny because I'm like, so they steal the land, they keep the land, they have the use of it for all these decades, and then at the end, they offer to pay these people for the land that they stole. No different than slavery. No different than, okay, well, we're going to take your slaves away from you after the Civil War, but we're going to pay you for your slaves. So you're going to pay these people for stealing people, exploiting them, raping them, robbing them, murdering them, and you're still going to give them money for doing all of these unjust actions? But the people who actually went through all of the horrible treatment get nothing, get broken promises. Get told that you talking about the things that their ancestors done is causing them black fatigue. You see that double dipping, and it's in our Fifth Amendment. So see, you guys have passed laws. He said these laws are actually all over the place, all over the world. So it sounds good that you guys wrote laws about it, but you don't implement them. You don't execute them. But the Most High is going to execute them. Since you won't, the Most High will. execute these laws and return land, and you're not going to be getting paid for land you stole, according to the Most High. Most High says, Numbers 35, 33. He tells you how you're going to have to pay for those lands, and it wasn't like, you know, if it was taken by blood, then blood's going to have to be spilled by the ones who shed it. That's what the Most High says. He didn't say, hey, we're going to take the land back and we're going to pay you for this land. Pay you a fair market wage for these lands. That's just ridiculous. But let's play a little bit more.
Practice around the world that states have a right of eminent domain. In fact, it's the right of eminent domain. It's the same right that's enshrined in the American Constitution in the Fifth Amendment. So, in fact, it's quite a standard practice around the world that states have a right of eminent domain. What's striking here is that a legal process and a democratic state has established this right in law in South Africa. It is comparable to similar legislation around the world, and it has not yet been used. So it's entirely incorrect when President Trump characterizes this as a process of stealing land from white people or confiscating land. So there's a serious problem of misrepresentation of what the law is actually for.
So misrepresentation. He said they're going to steal their land, take their land, and none has even been executed yet. It's written in the laws, but it hasn't even been executed yet. But they just jumped on it and brought these people over here and said they're being genocided. Where? Where? But see, this is why it was so important for us to get this understanding with the vassals, because now we understand why they're not reacting. Hey, if you really believe that you should be here and that you really believe that these are your lands, why aren't you all out here protesting, all up in arms? See, we were out protesting all the time as a nation, as a people, because we knew that we were being wronged. These other nations aren't doing that. So just look at their actions. Their actions are showing you that they know that they don't have any connection or any rights to these lands or to these benefits. Their actions are showing you that they know that. You see what I'm saying? Hey, if I knew that something was mine and I had a claim to it and I knew that, I had the right, I would be out here fighting for that. But these other nations are like, well, if I got to go back, I guess, hey, man, it sucks. I have rights, but hey, where are you going to send me to? Hey, I have rights. I've been here the whole time. Well, where am I going? You know what I'm saying? You're not really fighting through all this. You're just kind of taking it and leaving because you know that you've already been receiving unjust benefits. Let me continue.
And I think that this has fed into a response in which an attempt to start to take steps towards redressing racial inequality from colonialism and from apartheid is seen as unfair discrimination. This is a narrative.
To try to make things right is like unfair discrimination to the so-called white people. To actually make things right for your wrongs of your forefathers is like persecution to the so-called colonizers. That's how they feel.
That has been promoted around this issue.
You say the law mostly clarifies powers the government already had for decades. What do you mean by that?
So the Constitution that was adopted in the Mandela years in 1996 said that the state must redistribute land and restore it to Black South Africans who were unfairly dispossessed during apartheid. That process has been very slow. And up to now, the South African government has gone to landowners and offered to buy out property at market prices, even though the Constitution clarified that it could expropriate where needed. This current new law says that where it is unable to acquire land through other means, the state may take the property in question, a claimed farm, for instance, or a portion of a farm, and if the owner is not willing to sell at market price, it may expropriate that. And it should pay compensation that a court deems is just and fair, which may or may not be at market price. So it is taking a constitutional right.
So see, the Hammites are like, well, we're going to take your land back, but we're going to pay you for that. We're going to give you fair market for the lands that you stole. See, that's a Hamite. It's a Hamite law. See, again, the Hamites really can't do anything either because they don't really have any control either. They don't have any control either. So they got to write a law that still gives the white South Africans who stole everything the opportunity to get paid. But he goes, but we have the right to go in and just take it if we want to. We have the right to go and just take it if we want to. So I'm like, then why don't you just go take the shit? Why are you giving them, the opportunity to get money? Why are you trying to be fair to a people that was never fair to you? Ham. Why are you trying to be overly fair to a people that's never been fair to you? Because you know that you're a vassal to those people. And this is all just a charade. This is all just nothing but a charade.
And it's operationalizing it in law. And what this means is that in the future, the state could choose to depart from the norm of paying market level compensation. It hasn't happened yet. And in fact, most commentators, including my own institute, which has been following this for 30 years, have severe doubts as to whether the South African government has any intention to actually implement this law. So far.
So they got a law that they don't even believe they're even going to implement. Yeah, we can do this, but we're not going to. Now see, like, watch, this is Psalms 83. Exactly. Most High gonna debo our land back. We're not gonna have to go to the courts and get them to, please give it. No, that's not, please, can you give it back? No, that's not how this is gonna work. Most High gonna make sure that we get everything back that was taken from us. But watch, as you can see, it's always the same thing. Well, they could do this if they wanted to, but they don't. Just like, Russia does have these hypersonic missiles that we don't have any defense against, but they won't use them. Iran has these super hypersonic missiles that could obliterate Israel at any time, but they won't use them. China's got these super ridiculous weapons that they could just, destroy aircraft carriers whenever they wanted to, but they won't use them. South Africans, their government has the right to come in and just take over the land if they want to, but they won't use them. You see how this is just constantly the same thing? We got BRICS who can destroy the dollar whenever they want to, but they won't execute it. You see what I'm saying? Like it's an endless cycle of, well, we could, but we're not. We could, but we're not. We should, but we won't. All these other things. Because why? Because they're all Psalms 83 and they're all Confederate and they're all working together to give you some kind of an illusion that there are rumors of war and rumors of this and rumors of that, when that's all that it is nothing but a rumor. They're waiting for the Most High to really execute their judgment. They're already watching. They're already watching because we are the time clock, as I've always said. The Israelites, the awakened ones, are the time clock. It has nothing to do with them. They're doing nothing but making fake news all the time. 59 people brought over just to, again, you're trying to get a rise out of us. They brought 59, people over here, and let me see here. They brought all these people over here. Why? To get us pissed off? I don't give a shit. I said they're gonna get the same things because they're nothing but a bunch of Psalms 83. Actors that are coming over here to try to get a rise out of me. I'm like, hey, just more food for the Most High, more food for the fire. Because if you're on the wrong lands at the wrong time, then hey, whatever you get, you get. Read that Micah 4, read that Micah 5, where it talks about the young lions being released amongst the sheep. You guys are nothing but sheep. You want to bring more sheep over here? So be it. But when that switch happens, it's going to be a wrap. See, the Most High is really, like some of you people who are being forced to leave, you don't realize the Most High is probably because you haven't been the ones that have really had your hands on us. You might want to think about this a little bit deeper instead of look at the superficial. Maybe the Most High is removing you for what he's about to do. Maybe he's removing you because you won't have to suffer the way some other people that are going to be around here are going to have to suffer. See, before the Most High brought the flood, he was it looked like he was, he was killing off people, killing off Israelites like Lamech, Enoch, but he was removing people because of the big destruction that was coming. So don't always look at these negative things that are happening to some of you. Some of you guys, sometimes it's, the Most High showing you mercy. Maybe because you haven't had your hands. Remember, if you haven't had your hands on Israel, yeah, you might have been thinking certain things or whatever else, or maybe you're the ones that, hey, that doesn't seem fair. I can't really say anything about it, but I'm not going to, do this or do that. I'm not going to participate in this, participate in that. Maybe that's why the Most High is also moving you away, because there's about to be some serious lions that are going to be released amongst the sheep. So don't always look at things as being a negative, because many times these things, Most High's view of things is way bigger than ours. Way bigger than ours. And this woman said, like they come up with these laws that they can use, but they never do. And it took 30 years. Why did it take 30 years for you guys? You guys had laws where you guys could have came in and taken land during the time, they were setting stuff from Mandela, and it took them 30 years to get to this point. Why were they waiting so long? Why are they trying to talk about it now? Because they know that we've arisen. We have been raised up. Now, all of a sudden, things that have been in the process for 30 years, now they're trying to execute, as if somehow they have those kinds of powers. But they don't. No such thing as a coincidence, exactly. But I'm going to let you guys go. Just want to give a different perspective, because you're not going to hear this perspective from the others, because 99% of the stuff you're going to hear is a Psalms 83 perspective. They try to split themselves up into different groups, but they're all still saying the exact same thing, because they all come from the same perspective. How many are going to say, why should they even be getting money? Why should they be getting money for stealing shit? Why should they be getting money, for things they've already enjoyed? They've enjoyed these lands for decades. They've already been able to they've already had all the opportunity to, pass these down from generation to generation. And they've had a chance to live deliciously. Why now at the end, when they want to take the land back, do you have to pay them? Why? Because Hammites are nothing but vassals. Hammites can't do anything to go against the colonizers. That sounds like a pretty great deal to me. So I get to come here, take your land, take your resources, make you work for me for hundreds of years or however long you guys have been there. And then at the end, you're going to write a really nice law that says, hey, sir, can I get my land back? I'll pay you fair market. So fair market is $3 or $4 or $5 million. They get to walk away with $5 million for stealing my land and enjoying it for the last few hundred years. See, that's why y'all go to Hammites. Because they'll do some stupid shit like that. They'll talk about doing some stupid stuff like that. Because, hey, you ain't going to, I ain't paying, Most High, my power is not paying you anything. This is how the Most High is going to pay you when it's time for us to take those lands back. Before you to give those lands back, Numbers 35 and 33. So ye shall not pollute the land wherein ye are, for blood it defileth the land, and the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him that shed it. Didn't say nothing about, hey, let's pay fair market value. Hey, let's give them the fair market. Let's give them those millions of dollars for stealing the land. That's not what the Most High says. So again, that's why you guys keep trying to say black people, black people, black people. Those people are not my people. Those black people, those Hammites are your people. And that's why they write laws that benefit you. The Most High writes laws that benefit him and his people. A genocide. Get the hell up out of here. You about to witness one from the Most High. Much love, family. Shalom.